So one of the things that I wanted to discuss today is really, it's not that it doesn't work for you, it's that you're not prompting it properly. And what I mean by prompting is you have to go into it and provide it information so it knows where to go, right? It's kind of like you going home and saying, I'd like some dinner. I'm going to go take a shower and I'll be down in, an hour for dinner. And you come down and there's a bowl of cereal sitting in front of you. That could be dinner, right? Let's be honest, but it's not what you were thinking about, right? So that's where we're going today. Is there's a series of prompts that you need to do when it comes to AI that will allow you to get the information that you're looking for in a much better deliverable than what you're used to.
So there's two parts to this, and I am prompting you to let's talk AI and let's bring it into the Mastering Local Marketing. When we started this, 15 months ago, this would not be one of the episodes.
Right.
It has accelerated that quickly. So there's two parts. I want to do the prompts and mostly here, but we're also talking to basically have two different audiences. We have people that want, all right, let's get to the nitty gritty of these little different technical specifications. And then there's the average local business person that's like, man, really, we got to talk about AI. I don't know how to approach it. Let's hit that first part.
Okay.
About how do you want the small and medium-sized local business to think about AI?
I think you need to look at AI in the scope of you can duplicate yourself, right? So there's a variety of different ways that we can do this. And today we're talking about LLMs and those types of things. But there's, I was actually having a conversation yesterday about a company called OpenClaw, which allows you to download, an AI program to your desktop, to your laptop, whatever it is, and you can train it based off of a variety of information. So if you wanted to train it to be the next Warren Buffett, you can do that. If you want to. If you want to train it based on, that you need a co-pilot, so to speak, not to use the term, but a co-pilot, so to speak, of somebody that you can reach out to and say, I'm thinking about doing this. You know who I am. You can connect your text messages to it, your email to it, your calendar to it, any kind of documentation that you can have. You can feed it all into this stuff, and what it does is it learns who you are, right? So I'm actually at the point now where I'm kind of collecting the data that I want to go into this that will allow me to build this, that I can have that little Matt on my computer, right, that you're talking to and you're saying, okay, well, we got to go here, we got to do this, we got to do that. From a small business perspective, AI provides you more value to do things that you probably thought you couldn't do. So last weekend, I sat down and went into Claude and I said, here's what I want to do. I want to do this in the next 9 months, which we've talked about a project that I'm working on, which we haven't gotten to the details yet. But by August 1st, it's supposed to launch. So I went into Claude. I said, here's the idea, and I used the prompt that we're going to go through today. And here's what I want to do. But instead of in 9 months, I want to do it in the next 30 days. And by the time I was done with that prompt, and probably an hour and a half later, I was already building the mobile application, the database was built, the website stuff was already there. Like I was signed up with Stripe for payment processing. Like all of these things happened instantaneously within an hour and a half of me throwing a prompt into AI, and now I'm off and running. And I'm doing things that I've never done before. So I'm literally going into it and saying, okay, I'm following step by step here, but this step didn't work. What's an alternative way to do this? And it would come back with another way to do it. Okay, that step didn't work either. What are some other ways? And by the time we went through like 3 or 4 different opportunities, and it goes, here's a workaround that's worked for other people with this problem. And it was, I did this, it worked. I'm like, all right, great. Now that we're back on track, let's move on to the next. And it's just amazing how you can do pretty much anything just by putting these prompts in and understanding that. So from a small business perspective, a lot of people look at it for social media and how do we do email campaigns and all this other stuff, and that's perfectly fine. But use it as an assistant by doing the prompts that we're going to cover today.
So the overall attitude is be open to it. I mean, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
I mean, and Adriana, I know that is our producer here, and she runs the podcast network. It seems like every day we introduce a new element of AI. I mean, she is now getting all the podcasts. These podcasts are in. This will be cut up and cut into different clips, and it will be edited out, all of the uhs and the ahs. And then since we do it on AM radio, if somebody slips in an F-bomb, it knows to go in and take that out. All of that stuff would have taken interns or first-year employees a lot of time. They can now do that, and we can every day get more, and we get closer to just being able to automate just about everything. Now, your average small and medium-sized business HVAC guy, my buddy, he's just like, dude, I don't even want to hear about AI because I'm afraid of it. Now, what can we do to just tell people, all right, we're going to go through these prompts, but just, have a little bit of open mind. I mean, where can they even start?
Well, I think you got to go back to when the internet launched. Everybody was like, "Oh, whatever. That's just a thing. It's slow. It doesn't really I have no reason to go on these websites and all this other stuff." And really, where are we today? I mean, the internet is everything to us. I mean, social media and so forth. But the way to look at this is, if you're scared of it, that's a problem, right? So I was watching the news last night, and they were talking about how they're using AI to forecast the weather 9 days out versus 8 days. And they're like, why is that such a big deal? And they went through the reasons why it was a big deal and all this other stuff. And the one host, he goes, yeah, I'm really kind of scared of where this is going to go. It's going to take jobs. And if I hear, and you probably hear it too, every single day I hear it's going to take jobs, and I keep telling people it's not taking jobs. Right now, there's about, I would say, 1-2% of the population is really diving into this and really understanding it. So that's the early adopters. But where is this going to be in 5 years, right? So you're going to be introduced to it, whether you're a small business or you have a job somewhere. You're going to be introduced to this, right? Like I've got a meeting after recording this today, and in the meeting, part of that is AI, and I'm probably the most well-versed one in the entire meeting that's going to be on this, right? But if you don't understand it, just start to learn a little bit about it, and you're going to realize that you're going to move so much faster. Like where I was moving, and you've known me for years, 2 years ago, how fast I moved and the things that I was doing. Can you imagine where I'm at today and where I'm going to be in another 12 months? Like if I'm building an entire company in 30 days that on something that I've never done before, that I have no idea how to do, what's going to happen in another 2 years where I can click a button and boom, it's just done?
So let's use this as an example. Adriana Alvarez is sitting over there. She is building a podcast network, hopefully with your assistance. And then she and Lynette are running a 24-hour radio station with brand new content, news, sports, weather, all of this. And a little sports guy that just kind of hangs on with everything. But it's mostly her and Lynette. And everything is getting further and further into automation. And yes, 10 years ago, it'd probably be like 5 people to do all of their work. Now they're both part-time. She's going to school, and we can do all of that by having AI do much of the busy work. I would not have been open to it and not been open to Adriana's suggestions without having been exposed to you and to my son-in-law. In other words, I had somebody that said, hey, it's okay to look at this stuff. It's okay to accept it. Now I just got off a phone call with a guy who was a little bit late for this, that he's like, all right, we could have AI design a website and build this portal that we want to do ahead of other people, and I should probably have it done by the weekend. That would have been a 6-month thing with software development and $30,000 of development. He can do it in a weekend from his dorm room in Wisconsin and send it to us and have us, you and me, to look at it on Monday morning. It's that magical, but you have to go in baby steps.
Yes, without a doubt, go in baby steps, right? Learn, so for example, right now we're doing some training at the university, and the very first thing was, what is AI? Right? Just to understand, because it's like saying, it's the word AI and just brings fear to people, and what we're trying to say is just step back. Same thing happened when the internet came out, right? Oh, I don't need to be on that, right? Okay, those that weren't on there got left behind relatively quickly. So if you're not using technology today, just learn one, even if it's just going into ChatGPT and messing around with it, right? So I was sitting, was it 2 weekends ago? So this is what I do on my weekends, right? I was in ChatGPT and I said, all right, I want to create a new clothing brand. And I was just messing around, right? And I said, here's the angle, here's what I'm looking for. Here, I wanted to develop kind of this little mascot. By the time I was done, I had 20 designs for different t-shirts that I could have done. And they were all solid. You know what that would have cost me a year ago to go hire a designer to do each one of those? Probably $10,000. I built it in an hour.
Adriana, what do you think of this discussion? Versus when you came here 2 years ago, here we are talking about AI doing all of this work. Is it good or bad for what you want to get accomplished here?
It's good in the aspect of being efficient. It's bad in skill sets, learning those things, learning how to program, for instance, for some people, program, code, design, graphic design. It's bad in that sense because why do I need to learn if the robot can do it for me?
Exactly.
By the way, that was the most succinct way we could have ever. He and I would have blown a half an hour to put that forward. And
I'm learning from the classes.
So Adriana actually takes Matt Hansen's podcast class, believe it or not. So here's the thing. Let's give right now. Let's not be, patronizing or whatever. I just want to say, as a small business person, I was against it. Matt's like, hey, man, you need to look at this. Adriana's like, hey, you need to look at this. AJ, the guy working out of his dorm room, hey, well, we could. And now I'm like, I'm all in. Mm-hmm. Now, I do understand the jobs that it costs. Yesterday, Morgan Stanley never fires anybody. Just let 2,800 people go. Block let half their workforce go on Friday. I get that. But I think that the young people, if they just understand that they need to learn how to run the systems that inject a little bit of AI, and then you can not just be employed, you could be one of the top 0.01% of people that companies want, which bothers me that we're teaching so many AI injections that people are going to come raid the cabinet here like they always do.
Well, I think you have to look at AI in this way. The typical, let's just take the United States, right? So we have almost 400 million people in this country, and they have a wide variety of skill sets. What's happening right now is you're getting this divide, right? And what we're saying is we're getting a divide where you have those that understand tech are taking off, and those that don't understand tech are lagging behind. And the jobs or the opportunities for small businesses or anyone that wants to start a business are being generated in technology right now. So you and I could come up with an idea today and have it launched by, today is Thursday, and we can have that business up and running by Sunday. That's how fast technology is moving, right? But what we're seeing here now, and I know we talk about small businesses here, but if you're talking about jobs, The problem that is happening right now is people are fighting against the AI revolution here. And those that are embracing it and learning it are the ones that are getting hired and seeing drastic upticks in their salaries right now. I've seen this. I see it out there, in the space right now. Go to LinkedIn, and they'll even tell you right now that recruiters are searching for AI skill sets. It's boosting your salary levels because even the Fortune 500 companies don't quite get what's going on. They're looking for answers, right? So, again, we're talking, we got to get to prompts today, but we are literally.
Do we have to?
We have to get to prompts.
Can't we do it as a separate
No,
podcast?
no. It is the most valuable thing we've got to talk about today. But and we'll get to it in a second. But what I'm saying is about 1, 2, maybe 3%, maybe up to 5% of the U.S. right now is really embracing AI and using it on a daily basis. And I'm not just saying like going to ChatGPT and saying, rewrite this email for me. I'm saying embracing it, using it in their businesses, and speeding up the time that it takes them to do stuff. It's instantaneous. We're moving fast.
Embracing, speeding up. That's what she said in a very succinct manner. Is if you guys don't follow us, we have a 22-year-old woman that is 23 or 22 that is basically running this, and we went to the podcast conference. All the stuff we learned a year ago doesn't apply anymore.
No.
And so can I ask our boss here to make an executive decision? We've been going 21 minutes.
No, we got to keep going.
No, wait, hold on. Can
No.
we do this in a separate podcast?
No, we can't.
All right, do it.
Let's go. Let's go into
I'm like,
the.
unless you guys want to do 3 today.
No, we're doing this
go
one.
ahead.
All right, so let's do the prompts, right? So the first thing that you have to do is you have to roll out there and go, all right, what is the role that AI is taking? So I'm writing to ChatGPT and I'm saying, you are a somebody that is, let's call it 45. You've been in small business for years. You've had 10 successful businesses that you've sold and exited. You understand marketing like nobody else. That's the role we're giving them, right? You're basically telling ChatGPT, this is who you are, right? So the mindset on it, and I know we're not talking to an individual here, but you're basically instilling into them that this is who you are acting in the rest of this conversation. So the first thing that we have to talk about is the role. The second thing that we have to talk about is the task at hand, right? So, most people will go in there and they're just like, can you rewrite this email? That's the task that you're giving them, but you haven't told them what they're doing. It's kind of like what we said earlier about, I go home, I would like some dinner, and I get cereal for dinner. That's what you're going to get in return for it, right? So if you go in there and you say, I need to write, and let's keep it simple for simplicity's sake here, I need to write an email to my best customer. Okay. My best customer and we're currently discussing this. Here's what they want. You give them all the details, all the discussions, everything that you've already had with them. Your thoughts on where you want it to go, right? So you're building this task out. It's not just write an email to this customer with these 3 points. You're giving them the full understanding of everything that's been going on, right? The third thing is you have to define who the audience is. So if I use it for this podcast and I go in there and I say, hey, we'd want to do this, that, and that, all the other fun stuff. My audience is all the small business owners out there that are struggling with local marketing. They want to boost their companies. They want to drive people through the front door. They want to increase sales. They want to do all these things, right? So you're defining who that target audience is in the third prompt. The fourth one is you give them what good actually looks like. So
this is a part. I know all the other stuff. What do you mean?
So I put in there, I would like you to write an email to my best customer. Good should look like this. It should have X, Y, Z in it and should, try to persuade them to buy this or that, right?
Can you use that as the prompt? Good should look like blank.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Then you get into constraints. Like the don'ts, the things you don't want it to do, right? My favorite is, you get certain things that come out of AI pretty regularly, like M dashes, right? So I always laugh whenever I see an M dash. When ChatGPT launched, all of a sudden everybody knows how to use an M dash when they write, which is funny, right? Because I never saw them before, and the people that actually know how to use them are a little frustrated at this point. But you can put in there the don'ts that you want in there, right? So don't use M dashes. Don't make it 3 pages long, right? All of these different things. And then you have the inputs, which is the next thing, right? So number 6 would be your inputs. Do you have imagery? Do you have files? Do you have databases? Do you have things that you want it to look at, right? So if I'm comparing to another business, if I'm doing some strategic research on it, on another business that I'm competing with, I will actually upload their website. I will upload the documentation from them. I will upload videos that they have on YouTube. I will provide as much content as I possibly can so they get to understand who they are.
So can we stop right now for the average small and medium-sized business person is going to go, oh, my God, who can process all that information?
AI.
Okay, let's make that clear.
Yeah.
Anything that you're projecting that the average human couldn't process, they can times a million. So don't worry about giving it too much information.
Exactly. So if you're sitting there and going, all right, well, if I submit 80 different videos, that would take me 3 weeks to watch. If I submit perfect example, you talk about the podcast class that I teach, right? There's a book out there that, it basically talks about podcasts and marketing and all this other stuff. And I uploaded that in as I was building the class. And I said, I would like to pull the best ideas out of this and build them into modules as we go through. It was basically just uploading the PDF book of it, and then I was going to use that to build the modules of the class. And Adriana can attest, we're going through all the modules right now, and but that's what I mean. It would have taken me a week to read that book, but all I did was upload it. It pulled out all the critical points, built the modules. I looked at it and said, yep, that looks legit to me because that's what we're experiencing. And you just move so much faster. So you put these inputs in there, and you don't necessarily have to go through it all because AI will do it for you.
You know what LOHO is?
No.
It means someone's giving you the eye.
Uh-huh.
She gave me LOHO, you need to hurry up on these last couple
Yeah,
ones.
I know.
All right. The outputs, assumptions, and verification. Let's go to outputs.
Yeah, so what are the types of outputs that we're looking for? Is it an email? Is it a document? What are we trying to get out of this? What's the next steps, right? So when I sat down last week and I was in Claude and I was saying, here's what I want, it spit me out a 30-day game plan with step-by-step instructions. I told them, imagine this is my first time doing anything tech. I have no idea how to build websites. I have no idea how to build mobile apps. I have no idea how even AI works at this point. I put all of that in there, and it gave me such a very simplistic step-by-step process. It's even telling me how to name my logos, right? So I'm just, okay, great. Easy. When we talk about assumptions, this is the one thing that most people never do. You ask AI, let's clarify the assumptions that you're going in with here. I want to make sure that they're right. So it'll come back and it will literally list all the assumptions that it thinks it already knows that may or may not be right? So when I ran this prompt last week, the assumptions that came back, most of them were right, but there were 2 of them I said, never assume this because of XYZ. And it went, okay, I will never assume that again. And by putting those things in there and saying, don't assume, let's clarify the assumptions, you'll get that clean output that you're looking for. And then lastly is the verifications. It spits it out, you look at it, and you got to go through it, right? You got to understand it and make corrections as you go. So those are the 9 prompts, and most people don't do this, right? I would say probably 99% of AI users don't go through these prompts. But if you do use these prompts, you're going to start getting stuff that's extremely valuable for you that it'll change your mind on what the outputs that you're getting right now.
Adriana's going to put it in the description, the 9 different discussion. So I'm going to go through it real quick. Role, task, audience, good looks like, constraints, inputs, outputs, assumptions, and verification. That sounds very structured. Why?
Because you have to have structure, because that's what it's a computer, right? It's based off of, you've got to give it specific inputs to get the outputs that you want to get.
I think what we learned here, Adriana, is that in my head, I'm like, this in and of itself, AI for the small business market. I mean, how do you use it? It's almost like its own subset of this podcast. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe we need to do one of the two every week. What is the AI? What is the AI that is going on? The main thing I want to bring out to you guys is I'm a small business person that's been in business for a very long time, and this has entirely changed everything we do at every level because I let it happen. Adriana, all the other people around us, even on the sports side. And I just want to bring that out as an example. If you let the AI work and make you more efficient, then you can compete with perhaps much larger companies. Yep. This has been episode 123. They won't all be this long, but this one was. Well, until next time, we'll see you later. Episode 124 of Mastering Local Marketing. Tell your friends, tell other businesses. Please, if you have any things that you want us to discuss, or you want to be a guest on this, all you got to do is get a hold of Adriana with 2 N's at WJOB1230.com. Just do it that way, and she'll take care of it. And she'll, put whatever topic, if there's a specific topic you want to get to. What I want to talk about, what we're going to talk about today, if anybody was in our AI podcast, we're doing more and more of those. Please, if you're the small to medium-sized business or you are marketing a regional business, please don't be intimidated by some of the topics that Matt Hansen, the main star here, comes up with. He's advanced past just about anybody I've ever met in AI, digital marketing, and that kind of stuff. I'll bring him down to the simple, just make it as simple as we can. But just don't be intimidated. These things are coming. The big tech people built all these things and big ideas in marketing, and we can bring them down to your local level. That's what we're doing here and with my business, and he is Matt Hansen. How you doing?
I'm good.
Customers leave your business every day without buying. Many of them still plan to. In this episode of MLM, we share 5 simple marketing strategies that turn those missed opportunities into real revenue. What is your percent? When I say, what's your major percentage of conversions of people that are looking at you? What do you come up with?
I think everyone needs to understand, when you talk to 100 people, how many of them are actually buying from you. That's the number one thing. And when I sit down with any company, it doesn't matter if you are a local company, you're an e-commerce brand, whatever it is. I always ask, it's the first thing I ask you, conversion rates, like what's your cost, customer acquisition cost, what's your conversion rate, how many people are coming to your website, how many people are walking through your door. It's metrics, right? And many people just don't know them, right? They don't take the initiative to understand, and that's fine. I get it, right? We're all busy. There's a million things that we're doing on a daily basis, but we can automate some of these things, right? So the last episode we talked about AI. You could literally have AI send you your conversion rate every single morning in an email if you really wanted to. Like, you could set it up through Google Analytics, and then it would trigger an email that sends you, hey, by the way, your conversion rate yesterday was, let's say, 5%. You could have that if you wanted to.
And by the way, that's not that hard to do.
No.
Do not be intimidated that Adriana could have that done for your business by the end of this taping of this podcast. Yeah. It's that simple. But
it's the same thing, if you have a retail location, right? You have a little laser pointer that takes every time somebody walks by, it triggers a count, right? Like, you could buy one of those off of Amazon. Start getting those numbers. You take that number every single day. You put it into, let's say you go back to ChatGPT and say today was, 47. And every day you do that, and every single day you're putting that data in there, and you train it and say, I want to know on average how many people came in my business from January 1st through today, right? Like, you could put all of that data into AI, if you're trying to simplify it, put it into AI and just ask for that information to be delivered every single day.
This is related here.
It is.
The question I'm going to ask you before we get to, exactly how do you recover lost sales. But when I say the word performance marketing, what's that mean to you?
It means when I'm putting $1 out there, I'm getting more than $1 back.
So you're using data and you're using metrics that you're talking about. Basically, everybody should be a performance marketer at this point.
They should be, yeah. Without a doubt.
Why are some people not?
I mean, that's a loaded question, to be honest with you. I think...
Why do you think I asked it?
I know. Well, we don't want to go 30 minutes, but... I would say it's a variety of things. I know entrepreneurs that are the go-getters, right? Like, one of my favorite people is AJ Moran, and literally, as fast as I move, I can't keep up with her.
Then I saw that she put out for the big sell you need to enter. Did you see the email? AJ Moran, well, at least we'll get a watch on that. AJ Moran, and this is a shameless plug here, and when we go to the big sell at PNW. AJ Moran's running it, and you better send in a good video or she'll just spit it right back out to you. But anyways, go ahead.
But we have that. But then we have the entrepreneurs, the other side of entrepreneurs that I deal with that, everything's going wrong, nothing works, I have no time, that kind of stuff, right? And so we're all made up of the same chemicals and cells and all, right? Like, we're all the same, but we all look at things differently. And that's the hard part, right? Like, because I get frustrated from time to time dealing with people that don't want to move fast. And I got to realize there's many times where I got to sit there and go, okay, they're not the same. We're not the same, right? Like, I've got to slow things down. I've had a couple meetings over the last 2 weeks where, like, you sit down and you start talking with people and you're like, okay, well, are you doing this? No. And the way I look at it is it's a spectrum, right? So you draw this line in front of you and you go, all right, there's kind of over here, these are people that don't really understand marketing. They don't really know what to do. They're kind of lost. They're overwhelmed. And then you have all the way to the right where they're fully automated. Everything is functioning. They're just, you can't even keep up with them because they're so ahead of you. You got to understand where you are on that line. So when we talk about kind of this stuff and conversions and all this other stuff, I mean, it may sound to some of our listeners like a lot, but really we're just asking you to understand when somebody walks in, they've already told you they want to buy something from you, right? If they make a phone call to you or they walk in your door, they're looking to buy something. They called you. They're looking to buy something. So you should already be able to sell them. So what we're talking about today is like they walk in your store and then they leave. They call you and they leave, right? They send you an email. You never hear back. Most people go, they weren't going to buy anyway. No, they came in for a reason. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up today is that they've walked out, they've called you, they didn't call you back, whatever it may be. Something's going on. You've got to solve it for them, right? So I'm we've got some sales students that have been going to competitions around the Midwest. And
you haven't sent any of them to me.
They're not my students, but I'm being brought into it, right? And I'm going into them and I'm throwing everything at them from left and right and, whatever. But I keep telling them, I go, I'm in here because I'm interested in buying what you have to offer, but you got to figure out what it is, right? So that gets us to the first point that I wanted to talk about, which we talk about plenty, is pain points, right? So somebody walks in, but then they walk out, or they call you and you give a quote and then they disappear. What is the pain point that they came in? You're HVAC guy. I'm freezing. It's 30 degrees outside. My house is 30 degrees. I need heat. That's my pain point, right? If I come in there at $10,000 or if I come in there at $50,000, that's a different pain point, right? That's a huge discrepancy in price. But what is it that you're looking for? Is it just price? Probably not, right? So if you come in there and let's just say, he walks in and he's 11,000 and the guy that was just in there is 10,000. Okay. Do you ever want this to happen again where you have to wait for somebody to come see you? Or would you like kind of a service contract along with this where we come and check it every single change of the season? So it's a constant maintenance. So for that extra $1,000 in your mind, we're actually giving you peace of mind that you're not going to be sitting here freezing, waiting for somebody to come out when it gets cold again, because we've already looked at everything that could go wrong, right? So it's a maintenance part of it. We're taking care of you 24/7. They come in and install it, and you're under warranty, but you had to wait for them to come out for 3 days and sat here as pipes froze and everything else.
All right, so you find the pain point.
Yep.
Someone has offered a little bit of awareness. You told me about how you bought a fence and how many different people you talk to. You're like the worst customer because you're going to evaluate everything and then you're going to think about it and you're going to take in all different angles of it. But some of them are going to come back to you, right? And they're maybe going to come? I mean, what's the general rule? Should you follow up as your small business? Should you follow up with that person once, twice? I mean, what's the rule?
Read the room is what I would say, right? So I would follow up. I'd follow up again, right? So, let's say you call them back or reach out to them and they don't pick up the phone or they don't respond to the email. Okay, that's once. Let's do it again. Okay, nothing. Let's try it a third time, right? Let's see. Maybe they're just busy. Maybe they went on vacation. Maybe they're inundated with work at work, right? Like they're having a bad week, whatever it may be. But like you talk about the fence, it wasn't about getting the best price with the fence. It was about getting everything answered, right? So we had to have a survey, and we had to are you going to take care of the permits? We wanted to make sure we had some special things that were put on it. And some of them had it and some of them didn't. We asked them, can you get this, right? And it was all of these little things to where we got the quotes. And I think we had 4 different quotes. But the ones that they sent the quote via email, and I never heard back from them again. And I'm like, okay, well, is that how you do it? Like you send it and you just, okay, well, they'll buy if they buy. The one that we bought from, we talked with the salesperson a few times. He came out a second time to measure something else because we had a request. We talked to the home office about a couple things, and we talked to one of the installers because we had kind of a small little issue that we were dealing with. That's why we went with them, because they answered every single thing that we wanted, and we paid for it, right? Price is important, but it wasn't the only deciding factor, right? So that's what was really interesting about that, is because nobody followed up. They would send an email with a quote, and then you'd never hear from them again. And you're kind of like, is that working?
So back to our last episode, AI can help you tell you where, hey, you need to follow up with this person. All you got to do is give it the prompt, the correct prompts. Tell me who I need to follow up with today.
Yeah. In
your marketing thing.
Yep.
All right. But anyways, so all of this technology that we're talking about and all of this, Matt Hansen is, if nothing else, a systems person. And if you're able to pick that up and develop your own systems, then you got to go all the way back to the Stone Age. And every once in a while, you have to get personalized to a potential client. What's a good way to do that?
Well, so this is making a huge comeback right now. So we've gone so far on the digital side that now people are going backward to handwritten thank you notes or handwritten kind of materials that are being delivered to your inbox or to your mailbox. And when's the last time you got a thank you note? Handwritten thank you note from somebody?
Just after funerals.
Okay. So not great, right? But imagine that at the end of the year, right? We have Christmas cards and things like that. But imagine that heading into the new year, somebody writes you a little note that says, I want to thank you for working with us last year. It was an amazing experience. I can't wait to do more with you. Looking forward to the new year. Sent that to you. How does that hit with you versus somebody that just sends you a random email every once in a while? Like, hey, just want to check in on you. It's a completely different mindset, right? So there are companies out there now that have built entire businesses off of selling like $11 envelopes that contain information like little like journal prompts and all this other stuff at this point. Like, people want to receive mail again, which is the funniest thing in the world, because for a while there, nobody wanted to get any kind of mail, right? But the new generation that's coming out, like my daughter or my son, when they get mail, they're excited to get mail. And I laugh because, like now it's all credit card stuff because, they're of age. But a little simple handwritten note saying, thank you for coming in the other day. If you have any additional questions, here's my personal cell phone number. Give me a call. I'll be happy to help out. Right?
Calumet Painting does a podcast here, and they keep getting put as the number one best of the region. And one of the things that he talks about is, I'm like, well, why are you doing this podcast? I don't quite get it. he came to us and said, we need to do this and blah, blah. He's like, everybody's out there selling one-day baths and selling painting of your things. And he goes, I do the personal things. He should be in here, in it. He's the one that stops by places and gives it's all about personal relationship. I mean, he's a fireman, so he had all that time, all those years, but he writes the handwritten notes and stuff like that. But he says to me, we don't really have any educational how-to content that we produce.
Yeah.
We got it all from the companies, and we can give those to people. I want to produce some things that are our own educational content. What do you say about that?
I mean, that's why we're doing this podcast. Let's be honest, right? So for 26, 7 years, people have been asking me, I wish I could just come take your class. I probably can't afford to work with you and your agency. And it's one of those where I just finally said, we've got to put this information out there, right? So as I talk with people now, I'll say, if I have a conversation this week about AI, I'll say, oh, well, go listen to episode 123. We just talked about how to do the 9 different prompts that you need to understand, right? Like, it's an ability for me to send people where, to get value, right? So I'm not always trying to sell you on, let's get you some work from you for the agency. It's more or less like, I want to be a good community member, not just here in Northwest Indiana, but throughout the world, that we can share all of this insight and realize that, yes, I've been on the Fortune 500 side, but now I'm bringing those ideas, the technologies, all of this stuff to you in an educational format that allows you to understand how to implement it on a local level, right? And, from his perspective, yeah, there's a lot of things when it comes to doing tub surrounds and painting and all of that. Like my aunt right now, I was over at her house 3 weeks ago. I had to fix her shower because whoever put it in didn't know what they were doing. I mean, there's gaping holes in the corners where the tile doesn't meet. I mean, what in the world's going on here, right? So there's a lot of things that you have to understand if you're doing those projects, and somebody that comes in, and we had our wood floors put in.
Can you not lean back? Just the shot's only so far. You need to move over.
Nobody's looking at it.
All right,
We're
good enough.
good.
Go ahead.
So, but we had wood floors refinished, right? And one of the things that people that redo floors, they will skimp out on the number of levels that need to go on there, right? The sealers and all those types of things. So it's understanding, it's the educational portion that we need to put out there to really understand, like, that's, if you send educational materials out to your customers, they're going to love it.
So ultimately,
I'll come over here and sit right. No, just kidding.
Well, I mean, it only goes so wide, but ultimately, you're talking about visibility to this customer who has indicated interest and has not bought. How do you get in front of them?
Right. Well, one of the things that I love to do, and this is more on like a B2B side, but I actually, if I'm going by somebody's office, I've brought you coffee before, right? Like, I've heard you on the radio saying that you needed a coffee, and I stop in and drop you off a coffee, right? Did I need to do that? No, right? But I bring you coffee. It's the same idea here, whereas, if you're driving by somebody's office, you can stop in and just say, hey, I was over here at the Dairy Queen getting a Blizzard. I got you one. If you want it, if you don't want it, give it to one of your staff, but I just thought maybe you'd like one. Just want to stop in and say hi. That'll go like so much farther than just shooting off a simple text like, where are we at with things, or how are you doing, or anything. Like, you've got to give the personal side of it, right? Have you ever called if you're in retail, have you ever called a customer just to talk to them? Like, your best customer, just give them a call. How'd that piece of furniture work out for you? Can you take a picture? I'd love to see how it looks in the new space. Would you ever do that? Most people won't, right? So it's all these types of things that you should do and reach out to these individuals. But it's that one extra thing that you do that most people just refuse to do.
He's Matt Hansen. What's the question? Somebody's indicated interest, and you don't want it to be a lost sale, what's the attitude they should have?
They came in, they talked to you, they shopped, they've made a phone call, whatever it is, they wanted to buy. You let them go. That's the problem, right? So you need to go back and look at it and go, every single time somebody walks in our store, every single time somebody calls us, that is dollars in your pocket, don't let it go. Even if they walk out, figure out a way to get it back.
Episode 124. You want to get on this podcast, you want us to talk about something specific about mastering local marketing, just email Adriana with 2 N's at WJOB1230.com. Until next time, see you later.